All right, we are here, Jody. It's another Tuesday. This is the Community Solidarity Response Network. This is our weekly podcast in video minutes. And every week we come together to talk about some of the things that we've done last week, some of the things that we got going on right now. We got a brother that's going to talk about mental health and wellness, especially regarding us in our community and some of the things that we got coming up in the future. I think we got Sons of Toledo that we're going to try to show for Black Lives Matter Theater. Yes. All right, so we got a lot of stuff popping off for you.
Some things and another movie to talk about.
Oh, it's another? Okay, all right. I thought you were just getting one check. All right, okay. Hey, listen, I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use the pronouns he and him. I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bay. In 2014, Jody, we met at Jabril's house, and I don't like to say that it was weed smoke filled house, but there was some herbal essence there. All right. Okay. All right, Jabril. Shout out to Jabril. All right. And I didn't inhale just in case somebody from the Nation of Islam is. All right. I was hopeful while we were playing. Look, while they were planning, my eyeballs didn't even breathe. While they were planning this vision of just ordinary people jumping into the fray of speaking truth, power to the powers that be, and it just being ordinary people. It was a beautiful thing to see, and if we had a videotape or cell phone footage of just the conversations from Mike Leonardi, Jabril, Ebony Burks. Ebony, if you watching, this, or if you see this, hey, you were one of the first. Kamasi Kush, Stephen Vines, a rapper named Nobody. So many people that were involved. Yeah, so many people were involved in this conversation. Hey, listen, today I have on my glasses from Optigo for Twix in Between. So if you see Krista Moncrief, hit her up in the Optigo bus. I have my Buy Black shirt. Is Black history and Black economics should be at the forefront of our movement, along with the protest signs, and we keep those on deck anyway. But it's time that we start spending our own, and it's remarkable that somebody that we complain about 100% of the time, we spend 95% of our money with them. I still haven't figured that one out, but it is what it is, and as always, I'm dedicated to protecting and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the home of Black Lives Matter and justice or else. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Jody, listen, I think that I've taken my 5 minutes of this podcast for the intro, which was a little bit long. Hey, listen, can you introduce yourself? What do you have on? It looks like you got a couple extra.
30 seconds for 5 minutes.
All right. Okay. All right.
Okay. Just leave a drop off.
Yeah.
Well, what's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth, the treasurer of this wonderful organization that has continued to show up, kind of like, Batman and stuff like that from the day, same time.
True.
Well, different place, location. Yeah. It's the Studio D of this year. And I guess for my gender pronouns and for the people, the reason why we do this too is something that as we get further away from the protest era into the construction era and finding solutions, because you're not supposed to be perpetually protesting. If you found solutions, use them and stop preaching to people.
Or mad every day.
Every day. You can't live off of anger. You gotta have love in there somewhere. Right. Some time for some healing, which is, the thing that we need to talk about more than just prophesize to people to get profits up.
Okay.
Stop. Oh, but anyway.
You don't mess up our bag. But go ahead anyway.
Anyway.
Okay, that's true. True that. All right.
But so to describe me is that for the people who may be listening in, I am a cinnamon tone, big brown bear of a man that is covered in tattoos, crystals, stones, and animal bones. And, that's me, the appearance that I walk into with every room. And the staff that sits behind us. For those that can't see, it's a backdrop from many, many events and justice and stuff. But the staff has a gigantic bone on it. It's got a spiral snake around it. So there's not many people that can say, I don't know what he's about. And today I actually get to see my little dials down here.
Okay.
But yeah, and that's kind of me in a nutshell. I'm a human. I'm not a religion, not a spirituality. I am a human. So the best way to describe me is to get to know me. And the clothing that I'm wearing is kind of all black. I got a yellow shirt under the black, which is one of ours. As he said again, yard season time is about to come up, wristband, stuff like that, because we are funded by those that believe in us, not by corporations or entities or what mass trend is going around. We try and stay local. Well, we do stay local as best as possible and help other grassroots organizations build their coffers, build their ideas and dreams, not steal from people who need help. Anyway, it's a zombie cross shirt. So that's another, and the shirt that I'm wearing is Filthy Feathers from Toledo. Coat over there from Gutter Day, the one with all the stuff on it.
Okay.
But anyway, that's enough for an intro. Also, it was kind of a long intro too, because what is today our last show of, even though some
Black History Month.
Thank you.
Right, because next month is Black History Month too. But yeah, we'll let them know later on. It's
Black History 365, but this month, we get to celebrate.
Right.
We get to have our flag, which I thank the person that noticed it finally, downtown in front of the government building. Frederick Douglass Center.
I mean, is it on the ground or is it on?
No, it's on the pole.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't have to put on black masks and suits and threaten nobody. We spoke. We put out an olive branch, and they responded.
Okay, I think that olive branch looked like that stick right here, but anyway. Hey, all right.
Sometimes you need a couple whacks, but either way, it's just one step forward in trying to get what we want.
That's right.
And every time you can use the hammer. Sometimes you gotta use a different tool to get a different result. So
that's right.
Hopefully we are done hammering. We'll see this summer.
We ain't throwing it away though. All right.
It's in the trunk.
There you go.
Always in the trunk.
All right. I'm loving that.
So for organizations that are trying to make it to their second meeting, honestly, doing this work is difficult. And I hold much respect for my ancestors and my forefathers that went through bus boycotts for not a day, a month, a social media post.
Right.
That was years. Right?
That's right.
So this is our years. I can't take back the things that I had to see to be strong enough to be here today. And this is how you do it. We have a mission statement and we have guiding principles. This is our mission statement. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer, of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often, police brutality goes without consequence or accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event destruction, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events that help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law, equal justice applied to all, yes, all, regardless of class, creed, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives, yes, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Also, shout out to everybody in the chat rooms and stuff. We've been kind of getting used to it. And,
right.
I want to say it's interesting because we started getting, kind of better equipment. You don't see the lighting back there. But in Black History Month, we had our ups and downs and our struggles. So coming out of this, we could say Black History Month helped our show grow.
Absolutely. A lot of good tips that we've got from people and quick shout out to Jesse Coleman from the 419 Grind. And it's a beautiful thing when we get together and share our expertise with one another and give all the gems as Jesse did. Hey, listen,
it's not knowledge if you're holding it to yourself.
That's right. These are our CSRN guiding principles. We're moving up on our 6:15 time, and we've got Cecil in the green room. We want to bring him out. But these are our CSRN guiding principles. This is what keeps us from imploding as a unfunded initiative. All right. And these are our guiding principles. All Black lives matter. Queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe?
Ashe.
The next is thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We want to seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe?
Ashe.
Now, and also Ashe means one who changes a thing or one who makes a thing happen. This is our next principle. Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe?
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe?
Ashe.
Principled struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe?
Ashe.
Love, self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe?
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe?
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, and essential practice. Ashe?
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe?
Ashe.
Man, it's beautiful that we adopted those guiding principles. I think that was back in 2015.
Yep, from the Movement for Black Lives in Cleveland.
Right. That was right before the 20th year anniversary of the Million Man March, Justice or Else. We were attending so many conferences that helped us be able to look at, man, everybody belongs here.
Yeah.
Everybody. If you could pick up a stick, brick, pole, or pipe, we can get some work in. All right.
We say all emphasis on all Black Lives Matter, meaning including everyone.
Everyone. All right. Hey, listen, family. It is 6:15. We got Brother Cecil in the green room. Hey, listen. We're going to take a short break, Jody. We're going to come right back. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent, and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
We are back. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast where we come to you talking about some of the things that we've done last week, some of the things that we've got. Oh, we've got some little smattering. Oh, okay. Now y'all want to clap. Okay, all right. That's cool. That's cool. But hey, listen, family, we've got our brother with us, our brother Cecil. Hey, if they can stop clapping and maybe bring him into.
That's the weakest clap I ever
Oh,
heard.
hey, all right. The haters be like that. They be on stuff, all right. Hey, let's bring our brother in. Hey, brother Cecil, how you feeling, sir?
I am doing well.
All right. Hey, listen. Everybody that's watching out there, if you could introduce yourself, man, really thank you for joining us. This is really going to just do wonders for what we do. That we talk about other things than police violence and politics. We could talk about some of the things that really matter even more to us, and that's our mental health. So, could you introduce yourself? Who you are? Um, what's your specialty? And why does mental health really matter in our community?
Well, I'll start off by saying hello, everybody. I'm Cecil Holston. I've been a resident in Toledo all my life. I go with my pronouns as he and him, just to be inclusive as well. I will say that I have been a mental health therapist for since 2012 years now. I have been my niche of working with is either children, men, or trauma. So those are my three areas that I focus majorly on when it comes to mental health. And then why mental health is important, I would say,
Yeah.
is mental health is one of those things that we typically avoid until we break down, right? We will focus on work, we will focus on our families, we will focus on um, everybody else but ourselves. And when mental health is important, is it focuses on yourself. It makes you take a look at yourself. It makes you focus in on self care, which is being me just focusing on me in the moment. If it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, a whole day, whatever it is, it's you focusing on you. So mental health is major because it makes you focus on yourself. It makes you focus on the things that you try to avoid, you've distracted yourself from. It allows you to clear your mind, clear your soul if you're a spiritual person. And if you're on a journey of healing, it allows you to go through that healing journey. So mental health is, excuse me, of the utmost importance because it focuses back on you, no one else but you.
Hey, you know what? I always like to hear a person's origin story because I know that our brother just didn't show up with all the credentials today.
No.
All right. Uh, why did? Why does mental health? Why does it concern you?
So for me, I think we're kind of like breaking it out. I don't know if it's me or if it's you guys. It might be me.
Okay.
Can you
Can
guys hear
you
me?
hear us now? We
Yep,
can
I
hear
can hear
you.
you.
Loud and
Yeah,
clear.
yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay.
So what I'll say is for me, I grew up in a single parent household, grew up on the north end of the city of Toledo. And my mom always wanted to be a caseworker for Job and Family Services. I went to UT and was like, I'm gonna do engineering. And I
All
went to
right.
engineering. So I went to engineering for my first semester. Didn't do so hot, and I was like, what should I what should I do? And I remember my mom telling me she wanted to be a caseworker. So I was like, I'll do social work.
Oh wow.
Did Took social work classes, fell in love with social work. It became natural. It was like a second feeling. Like it wasn't too hard for me. I didn't feel uncomfortable. I've always had my mom, my grandma, who are major helpers. They always listen to people. My grandma's phone still rings now, and she's 84. So her
Oh
phone
wow.
still her
That's
phone
awesome.
still rings for help. So that's I'm used to seeing people who are willing to help unconditionally, without judgment, just the person who's going to give you the advice and you're going to walk away and be like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. My grandma was always the person who said, if I give you advice and you don't take it, I ain't gonna take it. I ain't gonna tell you no more advice. So that's what I've kind of used as a part of being a therapist. After that journey, I've worked multitude of jobs. I've worked for reentry. I've worked with fathers, and now I'm at a stop where I'm working with youth. And I found my passion is working with youth and helping them to normalize who they are, understand who they are, and just give them an opportunity to just get a voice again. Because a lot of times, I know we're in the city right now where it's
Yeah.
a high violence, and a
Yeah.
lot of it is youth violence. And so, giving them that opportunity to talk about who they are and who they want to become, and helping them that thrive over survive, right? Like, you don't want to just survive; you want to be able to get to a point where you're thriving in life and not just looking at tomorrow, but looking at 6 months from now, or looking at 3 months from now, or looking at a year from now.
Right. Right.
So, and then I just graduated with my master's in June or July of last year. And that was something that
Oh, okay. They're okay. So y'all gonna applaud for Cecil like that? Y'all okay? All right. All right. All right. We
so
even got haters on the staff, but it's all good. It's all good.
so got my master's because I just felt it was one of those things that I pushed off for so long. Went back to school, got it, graduated in June. And then the crazy part is I lost my mom in the process of graduating with my master's. So that put me into a whole different realm of learning about grief and understanding grief, and being a therapist. So when we talk about mental health, I'm a therapist that has a therapist.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, listen. One of the oft repeated things that I hear, um, if I were to ask someone, hey, listen, I think you should talk to Cecil. Most people tell me, well, I'm not crazy. You know, what are some of the misconceptions that you've heard of why we won't, and particularly us as men, all right, because that's what we're talking to right now. What are some of the misconceptions that you've heard other men have for not wanting to engage in therapy or counseling?
I think the first thing is vulnerability. Right. So if I have to be vulnerable in front of someone I do not know, I think a lot of it is that. I think the second thing comes with asking for help, especially for men. Men, we are like problem solvers, so we're gonna figure this situation out no matter what. I don't want somebody else to figure it out. I want to be able to figure it out. And so that's the misconception of therapy is really in reality, you are figuring it out yourself. I'm just along with a journey to help you understand a different side of what you're thinking. The first thing of vulnerability is I always say vulnerability is not for the other person, right? So vulnerability isn't for the therapist, it's for you, right? It's so that you can
Wow.
get the stuff, it's for you to get the stuff out. It's for you to allow those emotions that you felt and tried, or the emotions you haven't felt, to just get them out, right? Because when you're vulnerable, it's not like I know I may take the information and go run with it and go tell someone, right? But the vulnerability is for you to heal. And if you don't get it
Right.
out, you'll never be able to heal. So vulnerability helps you. It allows you to be the person that you need to be maybe 6 months from now, maybe 2 years from now,
This is
whatever it is.
great.
So that's the one thing about I always say the misconception about therapy is vulnerability, asking for help, and then you have to be ready. Like, so it sounds good to be like, hey, go to therapy, go talk to Cecil about therapy. And you're like, yeah, I'll go try it. But it's like if you're trying it, it's not gonna work. Right. You gotta be able to walk into that room
Right.
and be like, I'm going to put forth just as much effort as sitting in this room and showing up as I will when I walk out this room and actually do what I'm and practice what I'm showing up with. Right. Because therapy is just a small part of your journey. The other part is walking out that room and applying what you've learned.
That's awesome. My next question. Well, we got 5 minutes. My next question. Um, can I still be a man and have someone to talk to? Because sometimes I hear other men say, a real man doesn't ask for help. A real man does it dolo, by himself. A real man sucks it up, walks it off. What do you say about that? Can a real
I,
man seek therapy?
A real man. If you're a real man, you're seeking therapy. That's just plain and simple. That's what makes you a real man, right? The ability to say like, I really am suffering, right? I need someone to help me through this process. Suffering in silence is no longer a okay thing. It's just
Man,
not. I've watched. I had a friend who actually committed suicide about year and a half ago. I have watched through the media suicide be like, especially in the Black community right now, it
right,
has been higher than normal. And so I don't want, especially for men, especially for Black men, suicide has been a very high like prevalence in the last like just few months. It's high in general, but the prevalence
right.
of it is even higher. And so being able to say like, I'm not okay. I need someone to lean on. I need someone to give me some guidance. I need some advice. I just need a listening ear, a supportive ear. That's what therapy is. I always tell people, like, I always ask people the first session, what's your misconception of therapy? Right? What do you tell? Ask me what you think therapy is.
Yeah,
Right? What have you heard? What have you listened to? What have you been told? And then that's how I start the process of therapy of being like, whatever you've been told is not always what it is. Therapy isn't always I have to process your emotions. You can come and talk to me about your job, about the girlfriend
yeah,
getting on your nerves, about your kids. This is the safe place to talk about that stuff because I can't by law and my license go in and be like, "Hey guys, he told me," because then at that
right.
point I lose everything.
That's right.
Um, so this is the you walk into my office or you walk into a therapist's office. That's your place to feel safe.
And our last question before we're going to take a short break. And Jody, after our break, can we keep Cecil on? Because I know Rob Pastor, if he's available, he's going to jump in. So if we can take a
Yeah,
short
we can
break.
keep him on. I mean, if he has time, we have time.
Oh,
Of
is
course, of course.
it's that easy? Oh, why they give me a hard time? Why, brother Washington? You got to ask for everything. I just ask for you. Like, hey, as long as he
Hey,
can
next
stay.
month is Women's Health Month, so all we got is probably this day. Shut up.
See, okay, you don't get us canceled. All right. Hey, my last thing before I break, you talked about suicide on the rise in our community, and that's one of our secrets that we don't want people to know. All right, and for my family, we'll say natural causes. All right, that's how we get down with the secrecy, in my family. What are some stressors that you've seen men go through even more now during this pandemic stage?
I think a lot of it is just that, right? We've been in 2 years into a pandemic right now. And we lost kind of like the social. Men have to be social, right? That's
Yeah,
just a part of us talking about sports, talking about life, talking about what happened during the football, basketball game, what happened during with my kids. Being able to connect with other men is what we were used to, and that stopped for 2 years, right? It kind of paused for the cause for 2 straight years. And if you did spend time with people for the most part, it was like a hit or miss, right? It was something we popped in, a couple of conversation real quick, and then we rolled out, right? Because we were so
right,
afraid of COVID and we were so afraid of like, okay, I don't know if you have it or you have it. We just the stressor of the pandemic, the stressor of jobs, the stressor of I think money, I think the stresses of just being in a pandemic is what's increased the suicide. I believe that it's the elephant in the room in the Black community because we're like, oh, just like we talked about earlier, pray it away, you'll be okay, right? Or just
yeah. Walk
go
that
talk
off,
to
Yeah.
walk it off, right? You're not depressed. Go figure out something else. And it's like no,
man.
I'm trying to tell you how I feel. I need you to listen to how I feel so that I can get help, right? And trying to push away things is, I think, why we're at a point now where the breaking point is happening, where people are like, "Oh, I'm overwhelmed," right? Or "Oh, I'm too stressed out." And
Yeah,
the unfortunate factor to that also is the mental health system is like
Yeah.
it's strapped right now. It is strapped, and
In the
the
wrong way,
ability to
though.
see. Like, it's hard to be like, okay, I'm gonna send you over here, and they be like, oh, well, I gotta send you over here, and now I gotta go send you over
Right.
here. So, but for me, I would say the stressors are financial,
Yeah.
employment,
Yeah.
pandemic. Those are the type of things that I've seen.
Right. Right. And in our chat, man, everyone's really responding to you. And before I break, and for everybody that's on in the chat, I'm feeling some type of way that they be feeling, like give so many
They got
props.
questions for the guests.
So yeah, but no questions for me. But you know what? I can't be a hater. I can't be a hater. Not today. All right, maybe later on. Hey, listen. How can someone? Georgia asked, how can someone contact you? All right.
Okay. So I have either there's my email address, which is OPAT 419 at gmail.com. Or I have a phone number 419-0933. That's my business line. So I have either those two ways to reach out and contact me. The email is OPAT 419 at gmail.com, or 419-279-0933 is my business line.
All right. Hey, listen. We're gonna bring Cecil back. Hey, we need to talk to the phone company about our Wi-Fi too. I saw us go out a couple of times, but family, we pretty much have it locked down. We're gonna take a short break. We're gonna come back. Hey, look. Hopefully, we have Cecil come back because I really want to get those that phone number and that email address.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, now we're back. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. Hey, listen, we got our brother Cecil in right now. And one of the things that happened before we took our break, and I think that we fixed some of our internet issues, all right, not that we won't get some again because this is live.
It's live, it's grassroots, it's life, stuff happens. We're not trying to be a network. It's like, oh, we're gonna put on this perfect story you're supposed to watch. Stuff happens.
Well, I thought that it was perfect. All right. Well, anyway, hey, listen, family, if you could, and I don't know if you could if you can go into the chat and put the phone number.
Yep, I just need to hear it again.
All right, let's.
We kind of broke up there at the end, but that's okay. We're gonna put it in the chat.
Right, we want to put it in the chat. And family, if you're watching this podcast, we're gonna put our brother's phone number and just put calling. All right, Whoever calls, he'll figure that out. He'll figure that out. All right. Uh,
Okay.
hey, can you give us the business number again?
Of course, it's 419-279-0933.
And then just put call him.
Oh,
He'll
a big
know.
old black fish
Right.
on it.
When your phone rings, you know they ain't calling about nothing else. All right. And that's what we're trying to do right now. Also, who do we have in the chat? We've got our brother Rob Pasker from Pasker Real Estate. And listen, we're going to bring him in. So what we're going to do right now? Hey, let me. I'm going to bring him in. But still, I want to talk about when I come back, Cecil. I want to talk about some grounding techniques because there are some things that we can do in our everyday life, all right, that could have the possibility of preventing some serious issues, all right? A lot of us may feel unbalanced at work, at home, and there are some things that Cecil, if he doesn't mind, giving us some life hacks of giving ourselves an opportunity to rebalance. So give me 1 second, Cecil. We are going to bring him back, man. Family, this is a great day that we're having today. We had our brother Cecil in, who has his masters. All right,
Yep.
and we've got our brother Rob Pasker from Pasker Real Estate. We and this is Black History Month, and why not economics? Why not mental wellness? All right, it can't always be about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and who else?
All the others they
And
chose
all the
to
others. All right.
remember.
We honor our elders, but you know what? We're making history right now. Hey,
Yep.
let's see if we can bring our brother in. Brother Rob, how you feeling?
What's going on, family? What's going on,
Oh man.
CSRN family? Man, what's happening? What's really good?
Oh
Hey, hey.
man. Look, black men talking about mental health, black men talking about home ownership.
I heard
Uh,
that.
it does not get more revolutionary than what's happening right now. And you've created a space that this discussion can happen. We've created a space, Brother Cecil has created a space where we can talk about our issues without anyone saying, but this or but that. But it ain't like that with everybody. Well, listen, we got our brother Rob on. Brother, for those who don't know you, and family, you should, could you introduce yourself? Man, brother, what is your expertise and why should we be open to home ownership?
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. Before I go into myself, I want to speak on, yeah, we honor our ancestors, we honor our elders because somebody like myself and many like me, we stand on the shoulders of giants.
That's
You know,
right.
Malcolm X said a lot of things that I don't have to say in this day, so I can focus on the work that's relevant in these times. Martin Luther King said a lot of things that he had to say in his time. They didn't take him out until he started talking about black wealth. So what we do is we pick up that torch and we run with it.
That's
and
right.
and that's what I'm passionate about personally is black wealth. Black wealth, because to me wealth equals liberation. Wealth is freedom, wealth is security, wealth is stability, and that's what's been lacking in the majority of black families in
Teach.
America today. And so yeah, my name is Rob Pasker, broker owner, Pasker Real Estate. uh you know I'm a realtist. I'm a member of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, the oldest and largest minority trade association in America, focused on building black wealth. And, that's what I do through real estate, through financial education, financial literacy, just helping families build wealth with the foundation of homeownership at the bottom.
So,
Okay. I see you at a conference right now. That's not like some sound effects in the background, or is it?
I'm out here at the Mortgage Brokers Association annual banquet. They're
man,
doing some installation. So if there's some noise, I apologize.
No,
that's
I
beautiful.
recognize that sound. That's beautiful. You're not actually putting it in your background to sound important.
No.
Hey, I was going to ask him, how do you do that? All right. But, hey, listen, what is some of the misconceptions that I've had? I own a home, would like to own another one. But what I've always heard was, hey, listen, everybody can't own a home. You know, it costs too much. There's too much to maintain. What do you say to some of those that have those kind of misconceptions about owning your own home?
In America, for first and foremost, it's the landowners that have the power. Those that own the land make the laws, and owning land is an inalienable right. So in America, if you have income, you're a good steward of your finances,
Yes.
you can purchase property. There are no. I don't care if you make $12 an hour. If you make $12 an hour, you take care of your finances. You pay your bills every month. Your
Right.
credit score is where it needs to be. You can purchase a property if you don't have too much debt. So I help a lot of people. I help a lot of people. But what I find is that people, they think it's a big daunting task. No, it's easy. 2 years of income, and that's proof of funds. I mean, proof of income. You want to have 2 years of tax returns, 2 months W-2s and pay stubs. 2 years W-2s, 2 months of pay stubs and bank statements. If you have that and you got a 600 credit score, I can get you into a home. Now, the higher your credit score, the more options you're going to have as far as down payment assistance and what's available. But we have people out here. It may make $30,000 a year. It doesn't matter. They're buying houses with no money down. I took myself through my own process. I educated hundreds of people, but I finally put myself through my own program. I only had to spend $200 out of pocket, to purchase my property at the closing table. It's doable. Some people even get checks back at closing. It's more so about having the will to purchase, having a plan, and then executing on that plan.
Now, one of the things that I've also heard regarding home ownership was there's a story recently in the news regarding rent going up, and why is it that rent is going up all over America, and why is it now a good time to consider owning your own home?
We have to take it back to economic principle. And economic principle says when there's low supply and high demand, you're going to get higher prices. You're going to get faster transactions. So what we're experiencing is a housing shortage. America has a housing shortage. Um, when the crash happened in 2008, builders stopped building. Okay, they didn't start building again until maybe 2014, 2015.
Wow.
So with that being said, builders have to produce a certain amount of millions of properties per year to keep up with the growing population and the housing demand. So we're about 7 years short. So with that being said, I mean, we're here in Northwest Ohio specifically. Where are they building new properties in Northwest Ohio? Where is new inventory being created? Right?
Wow.
It's not. So we're entering a certain age where the millennials are the largest population in America right now. And the millennials are coming of age to that responsible age where they have families, they have solid, stable jobs, and they're ready to solidify and and create stability for themselves. So as the millennials age, there becomes a higher housing demand. But if we don't have enough houses for sale, yes, prices are going to go up. And that's what you're experiencing right now. We have the lowest amount of properties on the active market than we've had in over 15, 20 years. We have more people looking. And with that being said, despite the fact that inventory is as low as it is, we're still selling more houses per month, even though we have low inventory. Okay. So it's just economic principle. So with that being said, the best time to purchase is when you can, because I'm gonna tell you what,
What?
one of the benefits of homeownership is that once you lock in your monthly payment, it's not going to change for 30 years. But when you rent, you better believe that rent payment is going to go up every year, every
Yep.
year, every year,
Man.
every year. But my payment that I'm paying today on my 30-year mortgage, I'll be
Yes.
paying that in 30 years, despite whatever inflation is,
Yes.
despite whatever rent prices is, I'm going to be paying the same amount of money while everybody else is scrambling to come up with the funds for this increased rent.
All right. Hey, listen, I got a couple of other questions to ask you. We're going to take a short break. And thank you, brother, for joining us. Hey, listen, we had talked to Cecil about his origin story, meaning what was it that made you realize that, you know what, real estate is it?
Yep.
Uh-oh. Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Okay.
Wait,
All
wait,
right.
wait, wait.
Look like you got the same studio guy that we have.
You
All
know
right.
how I get down. I'm all about this technology. Keep
All right,
going.
yes, sir. Hey, listen, what's your origin story? What was it that made Rob Pastor realize that, hey, listen, it's going to be real estate for me? Walk us through that if you don't
I
mind.
tell you what, brother. you know, I was blessed, and our God, our Creator, is intentional to have the
Yes.
parents, and He gave me the parents that I have because my father was a serial entrepreneur, really drilled in the mindset of an entrepreneurship of being your own man, having freedom, being liberated. And I was able to grow up watching my mother operate her own business and event planning and decor, to the point where I would be at trade shows, Ship Shawana, be at trade shows in her booth, helping her with
Wow.
her booth. So I was raised on entrepreneurship, and real estate's not my first business. Creating culture,
Beautiful.
education, culture, language. Um, that was my first business, and that's what I created in college. Me and my homeboys, Entourage Productions. We were throwing parties, creating
Oh,
culture
we didn't
on
know that. Somebody should be writing this down. We
Oh,
did
it's
not know
history.
that.
It's history. But yeah, me and my homeboy, shout out to Mike Rod, Entourage Productions we had influence to the point we could send a text message out and have 100 people at the crib on a Wednesday night going down, right? So I moved to Columbus, and it evolved from just, throwing parties and, bringing people together to music and art. So Heartland Hip Hop, I did that for years. We had a podcast back in 2011. So for me, you talk about origin story, it's always been about what
That's
can we
beautiful.
do as a people to elevate. And when you look at it, at a certain point, I was going to school for education because I felt like there are things that our youth need to know that need to be taught in schools that would change paradigms. But I also realized after doing an internship at a K through 12 school in
Right.
Columbus centric, that for the influence that I want to create, it's not going to happen through the school system. So I realized it would happen through business. I have to have a business in order to have the
Sir.
funds to influence those that need to be influenced. So I acquired a tea company, Go Matcha Go. I was bringing in 20 kilos at a time of green tea powder, breaking it down to 30-gram bags and selling it through 7 different sales channels, booming it, coffee shops, festivals, independent distributors, online, had it booming. But it got to the point where I just got tired. I'm doing everything, my marketing, my sales, my distribution, my
Yes.
logistics. I said, hey, I need to automate my supply chain because the whole point of me doing this is to raise money to put into my art so that I can influence and create culture. And in that search to raise capital, because there wasn't no PPP back in 2012.
That's
Wasn't
right.
no PPP back in 2013. I had to get it out the mud.
Yes,
And so
sir.
that's where real estate came in. And by the grace of God, one of my homeboys was a third generation in his grandmother's real estate brokerage, meaning that his grandmother got her real estate license in 1963 as a black woman, and she built her business up and survived for over 50 years. I was able to learn the real estate game from their family. He
That's
told
beautiful.
me, Rob, you want to just wholesale houses, you might as well just get your license.
That's right.
And I took heed to that, got my license, and I learned the game from the Lane family down in Columbus, Ohio, and I brought it back here to Toledo with the intention of starting an office of theirs here. They didn't follow through, but I realized the big epiphany was I'm sitting here working to build a supply chain in tea when I can build a supply chain in real estate, and real estate is a need. People need it. I mean, it's a need. You go home at night, you lay your head down, somebody's getting paid.
That's right.
So I can build a business system, a supply chain, and the need that, for me, is serving my community. And quintessentially, that's what I've done with Pastor Real Estate. I have a team of about 7 agents, and that's what we do. We help people with their real estate goals, and we put people in houses. We help people liquidate their properties for the most that they can get. But I'll tell you what, it's a platform. This is just a stage in the world wonder that I'm building in my life, And so you say, what made me say it was real estate?
Yes, sir.
I saw the opportunity to serve my community and provide a lifestyle for myself and those that are in my business. But this is just the beginning.
Yes, sir. And listen, if someone, for those that are watching this now and some that may be streaming this later, if they want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
First and foremost, if you're watching right now, the simplest thing to do is just follow me at Rob Pasker on Instagram and Facebook. Just Google me. Google me, Rob Pasker. As simple as that. But if you really want to get tapped in, go ahead and text the word wealth to 419-540-4426.
Okay, I want to get that. If I can, if we can we get that number? I want to put that number in the chat. If you give me a couple of seconds,
No doubt. 419
give me one
54.
second. Well, we got a new tech intern here that's going to put that in the chat. And listen, family, this is Black History Month, and we're making history right now. We're trying our best to make sure we move this culture of protest, the activist culture forward. Yes, we're going to still need to pop up with our signs. Yes, we're still going to have some street heat or some direct action, but also
Or take
economic
billboards.
justice. Right. Also, yeah. Also, economic justice is a part of that. Also, mental health and wellness
It's
is a
part of
part of
that.
that. So we're not going to allow someone to tell what they call that the they call it the liberal non-economic agenda that they would give a lot of the leaders back in the 60s. That means that you can only show up to protest and say what we want you to say. Either I am a man, we want jobs, help us boss, things like that. But they never wanted us to pool our resources together. They never wanted us to engage in the warfare of economics.
Of
That's
owning our own.
right, right. So they wanted us to be perpetual sharecroppers. Well, that time has changed, bro. All right, it's all about owning not only our culture but some land too. So, do we put the number in, or can?
Yes, see.
Oh,
Okay, so wealth is capital or lowercase?
It don't matter. However you bring it, you're going to get it. 419 540 4426.
we're getting it, and we're gonna put that in the chat. And
419.
540 4426, or just Google me. Just look me up on Instagram,
Well, no,
Facebook.
we're putting it in the chat.
Hit the link in my bio.
Him and his phone. I don't know if you heard
Hit the
that.
link in my bio. Yeah, no.
right, and also regarding, let me make sure I got this phone off.
Okay. I have 5.
Hey, brother, if you don't mind, I feel like at this point in our history, our generation, what we need to focus on is that economic empowerment, because the generations that came before us, they focused on legal liberation, and then the generations after that focused on social liberation. So the next frontier for the black people, for the black family, is economic liberation.
That's
So
right.
there are things that we are working on as an organization, Realtist, as far as student loan reform, because black millennials borrow more money for student loans than other demographics, and that's affecting them in purchasing homes. So as NARAB, we're lobbying and advocating for student loan reform. But something that I learned in my journey is that the revolution is personal, and it's going
That's
to take
right.
it's going to take individual families fighting for their freedom and coming together to fight for I don't know what you want to call it, for a tribe, for a tribe's freedom, and then we go from there. And so we fight at the macro level, the national level, but at the same time, it's personal. If somebody wants to liberate themselves, it's personal. They got to take it personal, and they got to fight for their life.
Right. That's right. That's right. So listen, family, if you can Google him, follow him on Instagram, and if you follow him on Instagram, you might find that he got some. I didn't know he had bars. All right, and so this brother has some awesome Instagram posts where he's definitely showing more than just real estate. And we really appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you for sharing this time.
Thank you, Georgia Daniel, our awesome correspondent in the chat.
Absolutely, it's an honor. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate you brothers reaching out to me, and because I'm always here to help in any capacity that I can.
Yes, sir. And thank you, brother. And we hope to have you back soon. Thank you so much.
Say the word, bro. I'm here.
All right. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm ready to be on one of them albums again.
No doubt.
All right. Thank you, family. This has been the CSRN Video Minutes. When we come back, we got our brother Cecil that has joined us. We've got Julian Mack that has joined us. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I think that we have Brother Omar. Brother Omar, are you on the line right now? Okay. Hey, listen, let's take a short break. We're going to bring Brother Omar back. Man, we still got Cecil. Man, it's been an awesome podcast. Right. So stay tuned. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We'll be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober, safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
All right, we are back. We are back to CSRN Video Minutes. We are joined by our brother Omar Gent. Brother, are you with us right now? All right. Excellent. Hey, listen, brother, this is our weekly podcast. We've got a few of our brothers and sisters that are watching this podcast right now. And we've had, Brother Omar, we've had a great sharing with us. We've had our brothers talk about economic justice and owning land. And listen, we even got our spokesperson Julian Mack in the chat.
Yeah, we got
in the studio.
Brotherhood of shows.
Right. So if you could, Brother Omar, could you introduce yourself, who you are, and what's your role in this struggle? Oh, give me 1 second, brother. Brother Omar, give me 1 second. For whatever reason, I think that. Oh, give me 1 second, brother. Brother Omar, give me 1 second. Let me see if we can bring him in.
Yep.
Give me 1 second, brother. Hey, this is live. All right, so y'all watching this already know what this is.
Thank you, Julian. We know.
All right.
Fixing in the issue now.
Let's see what's going on with this. Give me 1 second. I've got. Give me 1 second, family. 1 second. All right. Let me give this another try. Hey, Brother Omar. Talking. All right. Am I still not hearing out there for our family? Let me go into the. All right. Am I still
nope.
Not hearing out there?
So you got to start. Say something, Omar. Can you hear us?
Yeah. For whatever reason, it's not. We're not coming in. But what we're gonna do? We're gonna do it like this.
Yep. Just put them up to the mic. That'll work.
All right. We'll do it like this, Brother Omar. All right. Hey, listen, brother. Look. Hey, this is kind of like old school. All right. Hey, listen, brother. If you could, for our family that's watching this podcast right now, who are you? And brother, what is your space in this struggle for justice?
My name is Omar Gent. I was born May 6, 1984. Originally from Florida. Oldest of three siblings. My name is Omar Gent. I'm just a freedom fighter. As explained on my website, freeourbrothers.com. That's freeourbrothers.com. I am challenging the injustice of Colorado's no indictment railroad machine that's unlawfully railroading people to prison. So I ask everybody to please pull that site up and also follow us at Instagram at Free Our Brothers.
Yes, sir. Well, we talked earlier, and in this struggle, we have some ups, we have some downs. Brother, why do you think struggle is ordained in order for us to continue moving forward? What do you say to a question like that?
Man, many reasons. For one, when you have a world and systems rooted in injustice, and you have people that benefit from upholding systems of, oppression and injustice and greed. Anytime you stand up to undo those systems, it would be either soft retaliation or direct retaliation against you. So you can't engage in a struggle against oppression thinking everything's going to be smooth. Um, Basically, I do believe the Creator gives us all oppression, allows us to experience no repression, no oppression, to strengthen our faith in Him, to test who we are, to test our resolve, to point out flaws in our character, to reveal various things to us that we may not even be aware of, because that's what I explain to people, if you can do an exercise right now, and you clap your hands together, the consequence of that is going to be a sound. So when one force collides against the other, if you were forced some truth telling and justice, if you're forced to fight for liberty, you collide against these forces of injustice, it's going to be a consequence. So the question is, are you willing to withstand those consequences for the long haul?
Now, one of the questions that we've asked some of the our participants is the origin story, and this is regarding you as confined citizen in the belly of the beast. Um, when did you decide to fight for justice behind enemy lines the way that you do?
Well, I've always been a fighter. When I personally was railroaded, um, police department, Parker, Colorado, all white police department when they came into my home, ransacked my home without warrants, without probable cause, broke up the family unit that I did have. It's basically this Ku Klux Klan raid on my home. From that point, I was like, well, here you have a person who was not on the scene of the crime, but yet to ensure preventing you do whatever you want to do. I just couldn't let that slide. And once I began to study the law, I found out the information that freeourbrothers.com presents that there's a no indictment railroad machine that imprisons people of every race and gender. And unfortunately, of course, black people, black and brown people. But when I found that out, I was like, I had to stand up. Once I educated myself, I just couldn't let it slide. I couldn't let that go by me without addressing the issue.
So, for anyone that wants to join you and find out more about you and what you do, and brother, really, you do so much with what you have. It puts a lot of us to shame that's out here, and that's why we want to make sure your voice is heard because it just needs to be heard. How can how can how can we follow you? How can we stay linked to you? And what are some things that we really need to be watching out for?
Well, thank you for those questions and the opportunity, my brother, and everybody put this platform together for me to get the word out. It's very difficult to be heard. Almost sometimes it seems impossible, but nothing's possible with the Creator. FreeOurBrothers.com, for those who want to know, it explains what exactly is going on with the Colorado criminal justice system. I'm not saying the grand jury is the answer because, there's another form of legal lynching as well. comes along. But when we come together, we pull our resources, when we tap into the power of the Creator, when we encourage and lift each other, and we expand each other's platforms, critique each other in love, we come together in harmony, we can do great things, very great things. But we have to support one another, encourage one another, and don't be disheartened by the repression, because most of the time if you are being repressed or attacked by a system of injustice, that means you're doing very good work. If you're not, the Creator need to give you a period of rest, or you're on the wrong side. Because when you're going against injustice, they will attack you. There's no way that they won't.
All right. My last question. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about a situation that's happening right here in Toledo at Toledo Correctional Institution, which is less than 5 miles where we're having this podcast. And there's a group of brothers that were engaging in a food strike, that they weren't going to eat until the situation got better. And I'm with our brothers, because I know that if you're paying your dues, you still deserve to be treated as human. All right. What would you say to some of those brothers that are having the hunger strike right now? And what encouraging words would you give those brothers, for any of our families that may have a brother, uncle, or father or nephew that are at Toledo Correctional Institution? What are some uplifting words that you can give to our brothers that are fighting for justice right here in Toledo?
First and foremost, I want to tell the brothers that, you are seen and heard, even though I haven't had the opportunity, the privilege to meet any of you. Your example is felt way out here in Colorado. It inspires me. I also want to say the Creator is there, even though you're in a very dark place right now as far as your circumstances. But you are saviors of our people. So remember that, your acts are not insignificant. Everything you do is powerful right now. You stand up for freedom, justice, and equality. And I salute all you brothers. And what I would say in closing is what I wrote to you in that letter, my brother, that you want to have to dig up for me.
Yes, sir.
He's there, because the enemy loves to push back against what I do. But inshallah, you'll get it. I was reading an article from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Why Are We Calling You to Boycott Christmas? He wrote it some years ago. And it breaks down about the power of an economic boycott. And that's the only thing these people seem to understand, because they worship the dollar. They worship money. So I call on you brothers, I encourage you brothers to really think about boycotting TNT, spreading the word to the brothers beyond you, the brothers and sisters beyond you, because it's bigger than you.
That's right.
On strike.
Beautiful.
It's going to continue if we don't send a message that we will withdraw our dollars until you produce the justice that we asking for. So you already disciplined yourself from drawing back from that food. Let's draw back from these cakes and everything else, and the snacks and everything else that really is unnecessary, to send the message that you will be sanctioned by the people if you want to do right by us.
All right. And brother, thank you for your words. And we will forward those words to the families of our brothers that are at Toledo Correctional Institution, to let them know that we hear them and we're going to lift their voices up. Brother Omar, thank you for joining us. And as always, brother, revolutionary salute and shields up.
All right. Thank you all, man, for the opportunity. Shields up.
Yes, sir, brother. And listen, family, it is awesome to hear from my brother Omar, all the way in Colorado, and still working for freedom, justice, and equality. Hey, listen, Jody, I'm going to bring Cecil back in, and also got Julian. So let's do a twofer right now.
Yep.
All right.
You want to do a break first?
No, I think I better bring.
Yeah,
I think I better bring him in. All right, because you know that if we got Julian, we got to tell him, hey, listen, we only got so much bandwidth.
By 9.
Yep, we got to be out of here by 9. All right, that's a shame that we got to do our brother like that. All right,
I'm probably not gonna listen.
Brother Cecil, we got to make up an excuse. All right. Yeah, brother. They're shutting off the Jody said they're shutting off the internet at 7:15. So hey, listen, we've got, and Brother Cecil, thank you for being with us. Thank you for riding with us today. Hey, listen, we also, for our CSRN family, we have our brother Julian Mackey serves as our spokesperson. Hey, Brother Julian, if you don't mind, then we're going to hit back with Cecil. But who are you for the people that are watching this for the first time? And why are you still in the struggle?
Good evening, family. My name is Julian Mack, he, him pronouns. I'm spokesman with the Community Solidarity Response Network. I'm wearing an Omega Psi Phi jersey to commemorate my brothers who in 1926, in collaboration with my frat brother Carter G. Woodson, started Negro Achievement Week at the Omega Psi Phi Grand Conclave, which then evolved into what we now know as Black History Month. Um, what brings me back here is, honestly, I've always been a student of history, right? And so I realized that this is work that's always been done and has needed to be done. And I know how much further we need to go, and so it's just really important. I gotta say, kind of just break script real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. um as I
Because
was watching,
We
we
had a
knew it was going
script.
to
you knew it was
happen.
coming.
We
All right.
already
I think the
we
script came
already
off.
we already braced ourselves. All right,
Everybody got a
Yeah.
script with
right.
me.
And you do got some fans out there. They always wonder why we do you like that. All
Let
right,
me just go
why
ahead
we
and
treat
say
you so
now.
bad.
No, let me go ahead and say now, though, like it has been a pleasure to watch this particular podcast, right, with Cecil and Rob P. Right, like I remember back in 2008, 2009, when we were all at University of Toledo, and to see the manifestation, right, of Cecil, to see the manifestation of Rob P, and the maturation, right, and to see the mature, right, more grown versions of those same people all these times later. I'm what was it? Over a decade later, is a beautiful thing. And I just want to take a moment out to acknowledge how beautiful that is, right? We often overemphasize the loss of life, understandably so, because of the disproportionate effects it has on our mental health and well-being, right? But to be able to see, right, sometimes up close, sometimes from afar, right, these brothers that all have a passion in
Yeah,
different type of ways, right, including me, right, grow, continue to live, and then thrive, right, and still be home, right? We're all homers,
yeah,
right?
that's right.
And we all had a kind of, a significant part of our educational process was locally, right? To see all of that, and to let people know that, right, that happens here, right? People are born here, from here, get educated here, and then serve here, right? And there's young Black men doing that, and serving a great need in our Black community, right? And so I just want to give these two brothers their flowers right
That's right.
now, and just say salute to all of you. And it's just been it's great to be a part of our cohort, right, and kind of doing things the way we do them. So hats off to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that.
Listen, one of the questions before we had took a break and we asked Cecil to come back, but when he came back, we had Rob, and when we said, okay, now, then we had Brother Omar, and then we said, give me a, okay, now we got Julian. Hey, listen, and thank you, Cecil. All right, all right. Hey, listen, brother, we were talking about some grounding techniques, and this is a skill that we want our people to know. There are some things that may be simple things that you can do to bring you back to now. If you don't mind, Brother Cecil, if you could talk to us about some grounding techniques that I can use, Jody, and especially Juliet, could use when we're feeling that. Right. I need to stop the hater stuff, all right? But I can't. I'm on a roll. Brother Cecil, what are some of the grounding techniques that we can use and anyone can use to help them rebalance?
The first thing I'll start off with is the deep breathing techniques, right? We always talk about deep breathing, but yet people really are like, what does that look like? Right. So I
Right.
always tell my kids it's like smelling flowers and blowing out the candles. Right. So you take in when you smell a flower, you take in a really deep breath. When you blow out candles, you blow out really, really far and really as far as you can.
That's beautiful.
Right. And then that you can do that either 4 times, 6 times, and 8 times. And then you can do the reverse where you go 8, 6, and 4. Right. And then you go 4 breaths in or breathing in 4 times, breathing out 4 times, breathing in 6 times, breathing out 6 times, breathing in 8 times, bringing out 8 times. And then you reverse it. And especially if you're in the process of someone who has anxiety with a panic attack, right?
Yes.
Breathing. What happens with a panic attack is you stop breathing, right? And so there's no more oxygen going to your brain. That's kind of stopping. So the first thing I tell people when they're in a panic attack is use your 5 senses, right? Like what can you see? What can you touch? What can you smell? Um, what can you taste? Is it the air? And then you can bring yourself down. Another thing that I think a lot of people don't really pay attention to is rubber bands, right? So if you're a person who likes to move a lot and fidget a lot, get yourself a rubber band around your arm and just pull on it and play with it. And it kind of helps calm you. I always say there are apps like Calm, there are mindfulness apps, and mindfulness is literally just focusing on the now, right? That's all mindfulness is. We talk about it. I hear a lot of people talk about like, oh, use mindfulness. It's just focus on the moment of now. Nothing
Yes, sir.
outside. You're clearing your mind of everything outside of it, and you're focusing on just the moment of where you're at right now. Um, there's also, just if you're in your car, turn off the music and rolling the windows down, right? Sometimes that's the best thing where you're just listening to the cars, you're just removing yourself from maybe the stresses of the day, and you turn the radio off, and it's just you, your car, and the windows down. You got fresh air. Um, Yoga is I haven't tried it, but I feel like I've heard 1,000 great things about yoga, right? Like I have never heard anybody say I've done yoga and I felt horrible, right? I may have a little unflexible, I may be inflexible and have to like
Right.
stretch, but I've never heard anyone say like, oh, it's a horrible situation. So I always say like, if you're a person who has never tried something and want to do something, meditation and yoga is definitely a great grounding technique because it puts you back into who you are and it lets you focus on the moment of now, right? And that's a lot of things when we're men, we're focusing on like, what can we fix? What problem can we fix? Compared to just focusing on the moment of us and living in the now.
Man, Julian, Jody, we've got Brother Cecil here. And I wanted to ask you about the stigma that's attached to Black men seeking help. What can we do? What can I do to help reduce the stigma that comes along with? Uh, Back in my day, men used to say we didn't want to ask for directions. It was a manly thing not to ask for directions. I don't care how many times we passed that taco stand. I'm not getting out my car and asking for direction. And that really just snowballs into a lot of those things that I grew up with, and I had to make that change that realize that, hey, listen, I know I'm older, but I don't think that we've been taught well. All right. I know I'm older, but I think that I've been taught the wrong information, and there's some things that I need to unlearn. What can we do to help reduce the stigma that's attached to Black men seeking help or asking for help?
I think it's just starting a conversation first, right? It's just having a conversation. I think we have gotten to a point where honestly mental health has become untaboo sometimes, right? Like there are celebrities who talk about it, there are rappers
Right.
who rap about it, there are singers who sing about it, there are TV shows who now show therapists so often and talk about therapy so openly that I think we're starting to remove even, I mean, Black shows, right? We're talking about like This Is
Right.
Us. where he
Right.
looked for a black male therapist, right? Like how unprecedented that was, that no one talked about it, that no one, he intentionally looked at, intentionally went and sought a black man to do therapy. Um, and I think a lot of times, right, that it's the representation too, right? Like black men are like, I have to have someone that looks like me, can relate
Right.
to me, can
Right.
understand me. And sometimes when it's hard to find that male, you kind of like, but really in reality, the first thing is just starting a conversation about therapy, right? Like therapy really isn't
Yeah.
this scary place.
I've got a question for you, Cecil. How does somebody know that this particular therapist is for them?
So
Good question.
I always use the conversation of like when you go to a doctor, right, or a dentist, and you go to your dentist and you're like, he just doesn't feel like the dentist I need, and so I just go find another therapist, right, or no, I find another dentist. So I always tell people treat your therapist like a medical professional, right? If you sit in front of that therapist and you're not getting back what you need, and you try maybe 2 sessions, or you may have maybe life wasn't where you were at in the moment for that particular therapist, you try another therapist, right? Or
I,
you ask it. Go ahead.
I think here's where the thing comes in, though, right here. So here's where it gets funny with this: is so many of us are going to therapy for the first time. We
Mhm.
don't know what it's like to. We don't know what it's supposed to be like. You
And
know
so
what I mean?
that's
Yeah.
where you at. I always tell people the first session is you're not going to walk out feeling healed, right? Your first
Okay.
session is you're supposed to ask your therapist questions, right? What is this going to look like for me? Right? How am I going to feel through this process? If there is a point in time where I don't feel comfortable, can I come back and talk to you about when I don't feel uncomfortable? Right. So if you go into therapy and you feel like your therapist is not giving you that space to feel like what you need to feel, then you need to say like, is there anybody else you can recommend me to? It's nothing wrong with asking those questions to your therapist. They're not supposed to feel like they own you, right? So if you're in
Teach.
there and you're talking and you're having a conversation, and because it's about your journey, right? And maybe you don't fit my journey. Is there somebody else you can recommend? Is there somebody else in your practice you can recommend? If I'm not comfortable, maybe I don't just say I stop coming, but you're not a good fit for me. I'm going to try to find someone else. And I think it's just having the conversations. Your therapist should not be superior to you, right? Like I'm not here and you're here as a client. That's never what it should feel like, right? So
Teach.
if we're not walking the journey, either I'm behind you a couple steps, right? Because I'm meeting you where you're at, or I'm on the side of you, right? That should be the journey. The journey should never feel like this. And if it ever feels like this, that's when you remove yourself, right? Because it should never feel like an inferior. If you never should feel inferior to someone that you're supposed to be processing your healing with, right? And if I feel inferior to you, and I feel like you're using these big words and you're using all this medical social work jargon, and you're like, yeah, and I never feel like I'm being challenged, or I never feel like if I walk out this session, there's nothing that doesn't feel comfortable to me, then yeah, you should change. And I tell people all the time, if I'm not the right therapist for you, I'll find you one. I can't be. I'm not the almighty guru of therapy, right? There's so many of us that may be. It may be even white females who may be better than me, right? Just because I'm a black male doesn't mean I'm your good fit. I may not be right for your journey. So I always ask, like, what's your preference,
Teach.
right? Is it male or female? Because just because I'm a therapist doesn't mean I'm your preference. Your preference could be I want a female that went through this, that has this type of dynamic and does this typical demographic, right? Or I always give people a phone consultation when they first meet me. Hey, you're open to have a 30-minute free phone consultation, or you're open for a free 30-minute face-to-face consultation. And if you're like, you're not a good fit after a while, I'm okay with saying like, well, can I find you somebody else? Right? Like, that's my job to be able to say like, I want you to get help. How can I help you? It's like triage services, right? You go to ER, you don't walk in and say like, oh, my eye hurts, and they treat your elbow, right?
That's
They
right.
gonna treat, so they gonna
Right.
treat you, they gonna treat your elbow. So you walk into
I see
therapy,
you.
and you're like, I need this, and that person's like, I can't do that. They should be able to say, well, this person does, right? Because before you walk out of the hospital, they give you a list of neurologists because you need to go to neurology. They give you a list of this is the people who do this. Every therapist is not specialized in the same thing. So you just have to be open and have that conversation.
My
Thank you,
last
brother.
my last question. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, Julian, we're going to top some loose ends. Maybe get into some 5 minutes of heat and shut it
We had a
down.
good one
Let
for
me just say this real quick, man. So those grounding techniques, right? So I'm going to talk about Morgan Harper and this Josh Mandel debate, and how I'm very proud of the progress I've made because I didn't slap this guy that's running for U.S. Senate. But let me tell you though, for real, I did practice some of these grounding techniques. You know, he's using all these slurs and
I saw you doing it
the
here on the show.
dehumanizing language to describe who we are and how we're trying to save our communities. And I'm 5 feet from this dude, you know what I mean? And but just breathing and using all my senses, touching my fingertips. You know, I'm here to say, look, that worked in real life yesterday. Otherwise, y'all might be bailing me out today.
Not again.
Not again, no, bro. You stand into Monday, all right? You already know. No, bro, we come down and get you. All right, we come down and get you, and that's a testament for anybody that's watching this. Man, Julian, if it works for Julian Mack, all right. If grounded techniques work for Julian Mack, they can work for almost anybody.
I saw some amazing stuff the other day at a meeting I was at in the Toledo Club. But Julian knows about that. Anyway.
Okay, all right. Hey, listen, this kind of threw me off. All right, Toledo. All right, man, come on, we got company here. All right, we actually got company here. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
when do y'all be? I'm like, when do y'all be at the Toledo Club?
Hey,
And why
there's
wasn't
some
I?
stuff. You gotta be invited to some rooms.
Okay, all right, okay, man. That's why I'll be hating so much. All right, I'll be getting left out. Hey, listen, family, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with loose ends. Maybe Cecil could give us some final words on, man, just staying in the now. And I wanted to also ask him about medication too. So listen,
And
family.
then we got a meal to talk about for a second.
All right, awesome. Hey, listen, family, hang with us. This is CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We'll be right back.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio
All right, we are back. Let me turn up my earphones. All right, I feel like a rapper. Can I get something in my earphones? So like Biggie. All right,
Okay.
check one, check two. All right.
Can you hear my snare?
All right. Hey, listen, we're back. CSRN Video Minutes. We're gonna do some some loose ends. We got some things that's happening in Jody neck of the woods. I know that we've got some things on the political landscape that maybe Julian can share with us, and also we've got our brother Cecil here. Brother, thank you for joining us tonight and making this definitely a revolutionary and healthy experience for everyone. Jody, as we're tying up loose ends, did you want me to start with Julian? How did you want this to go?
Yep, we'll do Julian. We'll just do the circle around and we'll come back to me. Well, you too, because you never talk on the show. So we're gonna do Julian, Cecil, you, because I heard something about a mural, and then we'll go to me.
All right, all right. Hey, listen, Julian. You just went to the Josh Mandel, and we also had our sister Morgan Harper there. Hey, listen. Why should we consider voting for this sister, and why is it so critical now that we get out the vote?
Yo, so this is, I honestly think one of the most important elections that we have coming up, and it's really flying under the radar. Specifically, this Ohio primary Senate race. We know that Ohio is notoriously or infamously known as a swing state. Went for Trump twice, voted for Obama twice, right? And we're in the situation where the Senate is in gridlock, and I would say a little bit worse than gridlock because you have these senators like, because of the United States Senate, okay, specifically senators like Joe Manchin, senators like Sinema, right? Career politicians who have made who prioritize their corporate donations and their corporate donors over the needs of the people, right? And so, you know, Morgan Harper, I think is about as real of a one as we can get. Not only is she a young Black woman, but she's somebody that stands up for women's issues firmly, stands up for young people firmly, and stands up for Black folks firmly. Right. We had Brother Omar on earlier. I originally met Morgan at a rally to decrease the prison population here in Ohio. Right. That's about as real as you can get. But to not rant too much, because I know we're short on time. Um, Look, in order, just simply talking politics, right, and
Right,
not policy. Okay, Ohio. The only way Democrats win in Ohio is if a high percentage of women, young people, and Black folks show up, right? Specifically, young people and Black people, because we know the majority of women voted for Donald Trump, even over Hillary Clinton, right? And so, we know that that just doesn't really happen with an average white guy that's a career politician. Just simply put, right? We typically in Ohio, someone new, someone fresh, someone authentic, and someone progressive that speaks to the issues that people are going through on a day-to-day basis is somebody that people are going to get excited and have a high voter turnout for. The primary, I saw the thing come up. The primary
right.
right now is slated, I believe, for early May.
Okay,
And I say believe it because this is something we're going to have to watch closely.
right.
Um, you know, it these are the kind of politics that happen when one party can only win by cheating. The reason I say it might be or it's scheduled for May
Yeah,
is right now on the state level with the Ohio House uh, redistricting. I mean, it's gone to the Supreme Court, Ohio Supreme Court again. Um, People are saying they're running for these offices, and we don't.
They
The
don't have
districts have not
offices.
been finalized yet,
right. I
right?
saw that.
And until those districts are finalized, they can't finalize the election date, right? And so typically in the primary, right, the Ohio House, all of these state elections, the primary would happen on the same day. There is some debate and talk because this is being pushed back so far that that date it might change, right? These are the type of politics that happen that suppress voter turnout. Specifically, this happens in Black communities, right? And communities of poverty. So this is something that we are going to have to continue to monitor. But what I witnessed yesterday in Cleveland was just abhorrent. I don't think I've ever witnessed, not up close, you
Right,
know, this type of open public bigotry that I did yesterday. I mean, Mandel openly called Palestinians animals, right? Doubled down. There was, you'll see on my Facebook, and maybe I need to share it on the CSRN page. About a month
Yes.
ago, they had their first debate, and after the debate, I tried to politely pull Josh Mandel aside and respectfully, not even away from the cameras, and say, "Look, you can have your political beliefs. We can differ on ideology,
Right.
right? But to continue to call Black Lives Matter thugs is racist, and it needs to stop now." Right. And so that came up, that made the New York Times and kind of went viral. But that question came up again yesterday, right? And the moderator juxtaposed that with the behavior of many right-leaning groups on January 6th, right? Like if it's about property damage, are they thugs too?
Right.
Right. And he did not refer to them as that way because we know that this is racially coded language and the majority of people on January 6th were white, right? So it's deliberate, it's upfront. They're not even hiding anymore. It's blatant and in our face. So Josh Mandel is the leading candidate and leading in the polls for the Republican side. So it is right now, you know, there's a good chance he could be our next senator, right? Like this is a real possibility, and he is in lockstep with Donald Trump. So our best chance is showing up for the primary
Right.
when Morgan goes against Tim Ryan, who just this past week the statewide Democratic Party endorsed the endorsed candidate, tipping the scales. Right, they didn't endorse anybody in the governor election,
Right.
right? But they endorsed somebody in the Senate election, right? These are how the scales tip when you have somebody that's authentically for the people, when you have somebody that refuses corporate donations, when you have somebody that is Black and young. Okay, just to be clear. So it's really important that we show up and show out for Morgan Harper. And just one last piece of information that came across my
Yes, sir.
radar. A lot of us are talking about mental health, and I've learned that basic needs are something that can greatly affect our mental health, right? Such
CPS.
as housing, right? Like so in Toledo, um, the the average asking price of rental rate is $898 at the end of 2021. This has grown 6% over the second half of 2021 and has grown 12% since the end of 2020. To put it a different way, rent has gone up over 22% since 2019. Rent has gone up um, over $162 a month since 2019. All right. So this is something that's, if you have housing issues and you're worrying about a roof over your head, it's hard to adequately address some of the other pressing issues in your life. And so, I challenge people to look up home relief. You know what I mean? Perhaps go to pathwaytoledo.org, or there's home relief through the city and the county, right? But rent is a problem, and this is an ongoing crisis that needs to be addressed, right? As Toledo has nearly half of the people who live in Toledo are in fact renters, right? So I'm just going to end with this. I had the privilege last Wednesday to be able to speak at Toledo's first Tenants Association meeting, right? For Black History Month, right?
Right.
But I won't get into all that. But this is one way that we can fight back, is to organize. We have rights as renters. We have rights as tenants. And it's about time that the people of Toledo start gathering together in order to effectively fight the oppressive power that have oppressed us via rent. And I'm gonna just stop there. I yield my time.
All right. I never heard that. I never heard that before.
Neither
But
did I. But it is raining in the middle of
I had to
February.
cut myself off before one of you two cut me off. I know how it gets it, you know.
you know what? This is gold, brother. There's none of us that are wasting words here. And if you were to go for much longer, all we could do is get information from you in the best way. For Brother Cecil, Anika had asked in the chat, she had asked that she wished we had time to discuss young adults that are struggling with mental health and suicide, but refuse to seek help, you know. And man, brother, and you say youth is your specialty. For any young people that's watching this podcast or may stream it later, what would you say to our young people that are suffering out here?
The first thing I would say is stop suffering in silence. Right. I know your parent may not be your biggest advocate that you feel like, but that's the person that's going to be able to enroll you in mental health services. Right. You can. The unfortunate thing is, if you're under the age of 18, you have to walk into with a therapist or a mental health organization of some sort. You have to walk in with a parent. So the first person to walk you through the process is your mom, dad, grandparent, aunt, uncle, whoever is your guardian. Let them know, like, I just need help. Right. That's going to be your first line of defense for you in your support system. Don't allow TikTok, don't allow Facebook, don't allow YouTube to be your therapist. That is great
Horrible.
information. It's great information,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's not the proper channel for the information, right? Like, great information, you great insight. It's just not the proper channel to be able to bleed out how you're feeling and understanding how you're feeling. For parents, listen to what your kids are listening to, right? Listen to the music they're listening to.
right,
Watch the TV shows they're watching,
right.
because they're not going to tell you what they're watching. They're not going to tell you what they're listening to. So you yourself have to take it upon yourself to, maybe you don't like that song because it cusses so much, but listen to the clean version of it. Whatever it is, listen to what they're listening to, watch what they're watching so that you know what they're taking in. And a lot of times what we're missing is that type of stuff affects mental health, right? The TV shows we're watching, the
Beautiful.
music we're
Yes,
listening
sir.
to, the things you're taking in affects you.
Yep.
But I would say for kids, though, mainly you parents, if they're sitting on that bed and they're isolating themselves, open that door, go sit on that bed and go have a conversation with them, right? Stop telling them to come to you. You go to them, right? Maybe you need to go check in on them. Stop allowing them to be like, I'm just isolating. I don't want to eat dinner. Well, then you go to them and sit on their edge of their bed, right? What's going on? What can we talk about? Let me hear you. Let me listen to you. Um, those are I would say some of the things when a kid is like, I just don't want to try it, pushing it on them is going to make it even worse. Right.
Mm.
Like, oh, you have to go to see a therapist, or you have to go talk to a mental health service. Like, when you start doing that, they're going to only rebel, and they're not going to want to do it. Because they're not ready, one, or they're just uncomfortable. And maybe they're not ready to talk to someone to be vulnerable at that point. Because a lot of times we push kids into something and they're not ready. And when they're not ready, the healing doesn't happen because they already have a block up. And when that block is up, a therapist can't push past it if they're like, I'm only here because I was told to be here.
Right. Hey, listen, we're close to that time. I just want to bring up a couple of things, and thank you, Brother Cecil. Thank you, and I know that hopefully next week we can talk about what went down at the Toledo Club with CPS and foster care and mental health. So Adisha, yep, we hear you, and Jody's going to do all of that next week. When you talk about healing, I wanted to really bring out something that happened on Sunday for everyone that came out to Robert's bar on Detroit and Lawrence. Our little sister Demia Ezel has a mural there. I want to thank everybody that was a part of painting this beautiful mural. Not only Sierra Webb, Dave, but also Dean Davis, who was the primary person that was painting. And it's So if you get a chance, family, drive by. The brother that owns Roberts now is a former colleague of mine with in education, and I had no idea that he owns it now, and was willing to allow that place to be used as a backdrop for that beautiful picture. He's also a family member. And lastly, family, it's Black History Month. And I want to just invite everybody out. If you look, family, it's Black History Month. If you never had bean pie and been to a Nation of Islam meeting, come on, what you doing? All right. Everybody's not going to get fitted for a bow tie, Jody. So stop looking at me like that. This is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's swan song. That means that at the age of 88, 89, man, come on. You just don't think that people are going to be around forever. And it's time for some new blood to take the helm. And this is going to be maybe his last public address. We're going to be streaming it live via webcast at 1698 Nebraska. That's 2:00. Doors open at 1:30. And also want to thank again for Cecil for joining us. So I think that is Jody. That is it. But please see little sister Demia Ezel's mural. That was a beautiful painting that brother did, Dean Davis. Jody, what do you got? 5 minutes of heat, and we know Julie's gonna say, "Oh, hold on. I got one more thing." So we've already carved some space out for that. All right.
Can I just say it now? So Cecil said so much about vulnerability. There's a really important quote that I think puts it all in perspective.
Yes, sir.
At least for me, vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is our greatest measure of courage.
Beautiful.
And I'm out.
Beautiful. All right. Okay. All right, Julian. Hey, listen. And lastly, before we get to 5 minutes of heat, I think that we're going to do Crucible tonight. All right. See, I even know the names of the poems, Julian. So obviously, I leveled up. All right. Getting on this good side to get some more of those stickers.
There's only around 4,000 of them.
Yes. Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah.
You said you had something else?
No, I think that was it. I was trying to pass it, seamlessly pass it off to you. Obviously, I need to work on that.
And I know, because I can't see the podcast while I'm also looking at stuff, I know Anika, she liked this one last time as well. And it's probably one of the ones that I've shared the most recently with a lot of people going on Facebook and social media. So I've been dropping it in people's inboxes. I've shared it a couple more times normally than I would share a piece because, again, all of this is becoming an album and a book series, and it's already artwork and all of that good stuff. But I do share ones for free or let you search and find it because, I can't lift everyone up. Sometimes I just have to throw you the tools and give you a map, compass, some supplies, and that's about it. Learned that recently. But before I do Crucible, I do want to say I've learned a lot certain things that I can say being a poet. And it opens people up. So one of my popular ones, or I guess ones that people are beginning to tick on as of today are some people use spirituality and religion for profit, preying on others' fear of the unknown to gain credibility, which is true, very true. So as we've talked about mental health and everything like that,
yes, sir.
Don't let yourself be preyed on by somebody who is practicing for their profit, whether it be politics, whether it be a job or your family, your friends. Sir. If they're just there for the profit, you might need to remove some things. So this piece is Crucible. And again, we'll be going in the album. It's the third piece that I've written out of the childhood trauma series, After Toxic and After Therapy. If you are listening at home or whenever you have the time to, I would like you to look in a mirror while you listen to this. Or when you read it, you can read it in a mirror. So let's begin. Peace. Crucible. I forgive you for being human. It's not your fault that you have a big heart and you allow people to tug on the strings that you openly give them. I forgive you for seeing the good in people, even if it's only a shadow of the past person that they once were. I forgive you for your past and all the traumas you had to live through, all the surviving you had to see, and lessons you have yet to be taught. I forgive you for forgiving people, no matter how many times they hurt you and disappoint you with the things that you would never, no, never do to them. I forgive you for believing in forevers, that there has to be some type of fairy tale ending waiting at the end of this rainbow of broken tears and shattered dreams that won't wind up being another illusion for you to find yourself again. I forgive you for being silent when you know you wanted to speak up. Stand proud in your own conviction, but yet you dwindled and crumbled because you believed your truth wasn't enough. I forgive you for accepting those labels people put on you, calling yourself weird, strange, outcast, black sheep, and not accepting that you are the most unique, beautiful thing that will ever live the history of your story. I forgive you for the isolation, yes, the isolation you put yourself through, and the years of reconstruction to feel whole again. I forgive you for giving too much too quickly to people who only listen, yes, listen and never comprehend, who are only interested in the words and not the emotions of survival that brought those moments to life. I forgive you for the people that you do not, yes, you do not forgive. I forgive you for not reaching out in times when you know you needed it. I forgive you for being human. I forgive you for not being able to control your emotions in certain areas that you are passionate about and over explaining to people who will never understand the contrast of the picture you are painting. I forgive you for apologizing to people who hurt you only because you know somewhere this hurts them too. I forgive you for those tears you cried over situations that were never meant for you. I forgive you for the times you quit and gave up on dreams becoming a reality that did not quite fit your lifestyle at the time. I forgive you for suitcasing your life traumas so deep within you they become landmines that trigger across people before you can even give them warnings. I forgive you for those walls you built. I forgive you for that hurt you owed. I forgive you for the love you withhold from yourself. I forgive you for wanting to save everyone, yes, everyone, no matter how much damage it does to yourself. I forgive you for every time you cussed out your creator, thinking you were being punished when it was only a lesson to teach you the wisdom so you could grow to be this strong. I forgive you for feeling too fat, skinny, ugly, boring, withdrawn, quiet, shy, explosive, smart, dumb, or self-absorbed to ever belong. I forgive you for the time it took for you to say, I forgive you. I forgive you for being human in hopes that you will accept this apology from yourself in peace.
All right, Jody.
Well,
All
that's
right.
almost memorized.
All right. We snap our fingers. We don't clap our hands to that. Man, that's 5 minutes of heat. And what we did say before you even started that we just don't end our meetings with a gavel.
Mhm.
All right. And also, if anyone saw, we have some art back here, and we got some art that was produced by our brother Joe Dewey. Is a Toledo police officer choking a brother, and the shirt says, "I can't breathe." Yeah, we still on that. All right, ain't nothing changed. And also, family, if you could, if you want to support CSRN via Cash App, our Cash App is CSRN 419. Our PayPal is CSRN 419, and also that's in our crawler too. So anybody that wants to participate in helping us engage in liberating our people and humanity as a whole. All right, I think that pretty much covers it for that part. Hey,
It's been an episode.
right, right. Are we closing out? We're going to close out with our solidarity pledge. Now, Julian, do you have the pledge where you are?
I do not.
All right. Yes, yes, yes. Well, I'll recite it, and if you can recite it with us. Those of you that are out there, this is our contract with ourselves. And one of the places that I've heard this mentioned was at the Million Man March, and we tweaked it a little bit to serve what's happening right here. If you can say,
I,
your name,
Jody,
Julian,
pledge to strive,
pledge to
pledge
strive
to strive
to love my brothers and my sisters
to love my
to love my brothers and my sisters
as I love myself.
as I love
as I love
myself.
myself.
I,
I,
your name,
Jay Summers,
Julian,
pledge to strive,
pledge to
pledge
strive
to strive
to study,
to study
to study
to improve myself
to
to improve myself
spiritually,
spiritually,
mentally,
mentally,
morally,
morally,
and physically
and
physically,
for the benefit of myself,
for the benefit
for the
of
benefit of myself,
my family,
my family,
my family,
and my people.
and
my people.
I,
I,
your name,
child of the
Julian,
system,
pledge to strive
pledge to
pledge
strive
to strive
to be a part of the solution,
to be a part
to
of
be
the
a part of the
solution,
solution,
the process,
the
the
process,
process,
and not the problem.
and not the
and not the problem.
I,
I,
your name,
spoken
Julian,
truth,
pledge to strive
pledge to
pledge to
strive
strive
to give all that I can spare
to give all
that I can spare
of my time,
of my
of
time,
my time,
my strength,
my
my
strength,
strength,
and energy
and
and energy
to achieve
to achieve
the above said.
the above said.
All right, give yourselves a hand. All right, and we heard from our sister, activist Babe Ruth. Be it the will of the universe, we'll get her on next week.
She's doing a whole bunch of great stuff. She made an awesome post earlier today.
All right.
Shout out to Jaden Jefferson, who is on Ellen today, right? I believe in that kid, and I really feel like he's walking Black history and Black future history in the making, right? So shout out to Jaden Jefferson for being on Ellen today and for being a shining example of youth in our city.
And that's our Black excellence portion. All right, you don't have to be an older adult to be a part of Black history.
Right. Black history is right now, every day, 365.
That's right.
I am Black history.
All right. Thank you, Jody. It is always. All right.
I'm going to make that a mantra for people.
Okay.
Watch.
All right.
Put it on a t-shirt.
And as always, all lives can't
matter until Black lives matter.
And Black lives can't
matter
until all
Black lives matter.
Justice
or else.
Peace.